I had been counting the days. 30 felt like some invisible threshold, the point at which I could no longer excuse the small errors and oversights that had piled up over decades. I rented the lake house 6 weeks in advance, made a list of groceries long enough to feel serious, and sent the invitations with notes that were almost imperceptibly warm, careful not to sound bitter, but heavy with expectation. The first night alone, I wandered the rooms of the empty house, letting the quiet settle. There was a faint chill off the water, the way mornings in February always carried. I opened a bottle of wine I hadn't intended to drink alone, swirled it, and considered the pattern. Birthdays passed without acknowledgement, birthdays forgotten, contributions ignored. I had rehearsed a polite shrug each time, smiled when my suggestions were dismissed, and swallowed the irritation that curled in my stomach. By the second day, when no one arrived, the frustration had congealed into something sharper. I could see the layers of avoidance and disinterest as clearly as the ripples on the lake. I thought of my sister, always first to post cheerful photos, always the one whose plans everyone seemed to follow. When I saw the post, family weekend vibes, pictures of everyone together at a different lake 2 hours away, something inside me settled into quiet, deliberate resolve. I didn't comment. I didn't send a message. I just sat with the silence, letting it speak for me. The next morning, I opened the bank app and began methodically stopping the payments I had been carrying for years. Mom's mortgage, Dad's truck lease, the business loan. They all insisted I co-sign. There was no flourish, no dramatic announcement, just the steady clicks and taps of someone who had finally decided that silence was louder than words. I remembered the phone calls I had swallowed down, the emails I had ignored in favor of keeping the peace, the nights I had lain awake wondering if I was being too sensitive or too selfish. None of that mattered anymore. What mattered was the principle that care cannot be assumed, that generosity should not be one-sided, and that a repeated lack of acknowledgement had consequences. By evening, the texts came. "Mom, did something happen?" I stared at the message, the cursors blinking between us as if the room itself waited for my reply. I typed slowly. Yeah, I finally took the hint, and then I put the phone down. No one screamed, no one confronted me immediately. The authority I had always felt denied by my family was now quietly undeniable. The truck wouldn't be paid. The mortgage would slip into delinquency if no one intervened. The business loan, once a shared responsibility, was now mine no longer. They would have to reckon with the fact that I existed on terms other than theirs. The lake outside reflected the afternoon sun, and I walked the edge of the dock, letting the water's cold lick at my boots. It was not a victory in the way movies make it seem. No one was kneeling, no one was groveling. It was a moment of equilibrium restored, subtle but absolute. My leverage was real, concrete, and for the first time in a long time, I could breathe without anticipating erasure. That night, I lit a small fire in the fireplace, opened the wine again, and watched the flames twist. There was no celebration. I did not feel triumphant. There was only awareness, the quiet, unmoving kind. I had shifted the balance, yes, but in doing so, I had also reshaped the landscape of connection entirely. Some bridges would never be crossed again. Others might wait uncertainly for repair. I thought of the birthdays I would spend in the future, perhaps still alone, perhaps with those who chose to be present. And I realized that the absence I had felt all my life was now mirrored by presence on my own terms. Power had shifted. Consequences were clear. And yet, the age of relational loss remained. It was neither punishment nor revenge. It was a recalibration, precise and unavoidable. The lake darkened. the house creaking gently as the wind moved through the trees. I sipped the wine. I had not shouted. I had not demanded attention. I had simply let my life, my choices, my support, my patience speak with clarity. And for the first time, I felt it.